Hi, fifth graders. So today we are going to start our first lesson of our math units. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take a look at this place value chart. So this place value chart is on Canvas. I've also included a link on Canvas to a virtual kind of more manipulative version of it if you would prefer that. But let's take a look really quick. So we know the millions, the hundred thousands, 10,000s, thousands, hundreds, tens, and ones. We also know that as we move to the right in our place value chart, we are dividing by 10 each way. So to get from 1,000 to 100, we're dividing by 10. We also know that as we move to the left on our place value chart, we're multiplying by 10. So the opposite is true. To get from hundreds to thousands, we're multiplying by 10. So to get from each place value, we're either multiplying or dividing by 10, depending on if our number is getting smaller or if our number is getting larger. So our new part of our place value chart that we're going to be focusing on is after our decimal point. So our decimal point comes after the ones place. And decimal just kind of looks like a period, but since we're not talking about language arts, it's called a decimal. So first we have the tenths place with the TH at the end, and we have the hundredths place, again with the TH at the end, and the thousandths place. We can think of each of these place values as a fraction. So tenths would be 1/10, hundredths would be 1/100th, thousandths would be 1,000th. So let's keep that in mind as we start our first part of our guided practice. So we're starting out by looking at this page that has multiplying by powers of 10, so by 10, 100, and 1,000. So the very first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to write my place values onto my place value chart. I'm only going to write it one time. I'm not going to write it on each one, but if you want to write it on each one to help you remember where they are, then you can. I'm only doing it once because I'm writing in marker and I write really big. So we have our ones place, we have the tens place, the hundreds place, and then the thousands place. Then on the other side of the decimal, we have the tenths place, then the hundredths place, and then the thousandths place. Another thing to note is how we read these decimals. So we're starting with this number, 3.452. So the way that we read this is that anything to the left of the decimal, we read like normal, so 3. When we get to the decimal point, we say and anything to the right of the decimal, in this case the 452, we read like normal, and then we say whatever place value our last number is in. So 452, and then since the 2 is in the thousandths place, then we say thousandths. So we would read this number in math words as 3 and 452 thousandths. Now, since we are multiplying, and I'm going to rewrite the problem off to the side since I kind of wrote over it, we have 3 and 452 thousandths times 10. So if you notice, when we multiplied by 10, our numbers all shifted to the left one place. So now we have 34 and 52 hundredths. And there's going to be a pattern. So see if you can figure that pattern out. For part B, we're looking at that same number, 3 and 452 thousandths. This time we're multiplying it by 100. So if we multiplied by 10 and our numbers moved over to the left one place value, if we're multiplying by 100, it's going to move 2 place values. So our 3 is going to move into the hundreds place, and the rest of our numbers are going to follow behind. And we have to remember to always rewrite that decimal there. So then let's look at C. Again, we're going to rewrite that number, 3 and 452 thousandths. This time we're multiplying by 1,000, and our decimal is going, or our numbers rather, are going to move over 3 places to the left. Oops. 3,452. You don't have to put the decimal at the end there, but I like to put it just to remind myself of the decimal. So do you notice the pattern? When we multiplied by 10, we moved 1 place. When we multiplied by 100, we moved 2 places. When we multiplied by 1,000, we moved 3 places. Think of it this way. When we multiplied by 10, we multiplied by 10 one time. When we multiply by 100, we're multiplying by 10 2 times. When we multiply by 1,000, we're multiplying by 10 3 times. Each time we multiply by 10, our numbers move to the left 1 place. Now let's take a look at the other side. So now we're going to look at division. So once again, I'm going to write my place values up at the top. The number we're starting with is 345, and we're dividing by 10. When we divide by 10, if you remember when we multiplied by 10, we moved to the left 1 place. When we divide, we're moving to the right because our number is getting smaller. So since we're dividing by 10, our number is going to move to the right 1 place to become 34 and 5 tenths. Now we have 345 divided by 100. So we divide by 10 once and divide by 10 twice and fill in the rest of our numbers. So 345 divided by 100 gives us 3 and 45 hundredths. And finally, we have 345 divided by 1,000. We divide by 10 once, divide by 10 twice, and divide by 10 3 times to divide by 1,000. And we fill in the rest of our numbers. And we add our decimal point. If you ever have a number that has a decimal, but there's no whole numbers to the left of it, we have to remember to add a 0. So this number we can read in 2 different ways. We can say 0 and 345 thousandths, or we can just say 345 thousandths. This is that same pattern that we saw on the other side of our page, just this time we're moving to the right instead of to the left. So you do have another page of guided practice, but we're not going to go through this today. If you would like to go through it on your own, you're more than welcome to, but you do not need to. So you don't need to do this. You don't even need to submit it to me. So on Canvas, you have your independent practice pages as well. The independent practice should be pretty similar to your guided practice. You're kind of doing some of that same moving your decimals back and forth, and a couple of word problems. You also have what's called an exit ticket. So the reason for the exit ticket is because in class, when we get to come back to school, we'll do an exit ticket after every math lesson. And I want you to get into the habit of doing it. The exit ticket, the guided practice, and the independent practice will all be submitted all together into your math assignment submission on Canvas. Also, please make sure that you write at the top of one of your guided practice pages our secret word. So our secret word today is the word deke. D-E-K-E. A deke is an ice hockey term. It is kind of a move, or it means like to fake somebody out or to kind of make them think you're going one way but you're going the other way. Another word for it would be juke, but I'm looking for the word deke, D-E-K-E, at the top of your guided practice. So make sure that you submit all of your work all together in one submission to Canvas. So that's your independent practice, your guided practice, and your exit ticket. If you have any questions or you run into any problems, please let me know and I'll be happy to help.